Hi guys, and welcome to this weekend's weekly roundup. Again, a little late. This is probably going to end up being a theme. A lot of my work dictates when I can do these videos, which is why I tend to do them as more of an amateur thing rather than asking for any money for them. But there's a lot of stuff, being as last week I was moving jobs and didn't have any time to do one. This week I've got a bit of a catch up to do. Well, we've had the GAMA trade show where a lot of people have released a lot of kick-ass stuff. We're going to go through 40k first. Well, I'm going to go through Warhammer first. I mean, there's another kind of sub-box set game to get you started into Age of Sigmar. They release a lot of these games, both for Age of Sigmar and 40k. They seem, as near as I can tell, to be like mini games that you can buy by themselves, that are designed to get you into the bigger game. They come with little battle maps a lot of the time, and their own separate rules that are usually simplified or variables on the rules of the main games, and with enough troops so that if you then want to take what you get in this set and play the main game, you actually have that option. Obviously, the exception to that is there are two exceptions to that rule, in that you've got where are we? Yeah, you've got Kill Team, which uses a very different rule set. You've got Shadespire, which is again a very different game, and you've got the separate games like the Warhammer Quest, both the 40k Black Fortress one and the original Silver Tower, and the Nurgle one, which name escapes at the moment. They were separate games with very unique and distinct models. But even them, a lot of them, their models have had rules to allow you to then transfer them over to 40k should you want. So there's a lot of cool stuff there. Speaking about Black Fortress, we've got two new fantastic models announced: a leader of the cultists and this wacky looking elite sort of bodyguard guy who I really like the look of. He's going to be really cool. Looks a little bit Tyranidish / Gene Stealer-ish, but then again, the genetic manipulations and mutations that you've got from Tyranids and the horrific stuff you've got from Chaos have always had a little bit of an overlap in the aesthetic. They've announced Munchkin Warhammer Quest, the game that I'm not sure anyone asked for. Hopefully it'll be fun. I mean, Munchkin Warhammer 40k I get. There's a lot of stuff in 40k, particularly over the years, that you can kind of laugh at and make fun of yourself. AOS, a bit of a new game. I'm not sure it's a little early to be taking the mick out of it. The one that has me buzzing and a lot of people buzzing: Kill Team Elites. We've had Kill Team Elites announced, and we can see here, if we get a better picture, quite a beautiful picture of some Imperial Fists led by a Terminator. A lot of people are going, oh, it's expanding Kill Team beyond reasonable levels and it's changing the entire game. But to my mind, we've already had HQs, and frankly, we all wanted those. We all wanted to build our own personal guys in. Well, I say we all. I wanted it, and most of the people I know wanted it. If you didn't, then you don't have to play with it, man. It's a cool game. Elites should, it's bringing a lot of other cool stuff, a lot of other cool units that we didn't have access to, which I'm looking forward to. As a Space Wolf player, I'm really looking forward to the Wolf Guard. Sorry, just something went on there. Messy here. The Terminators and the personalisable cool stuff should be really awesome, and frankly, I'm looking forward to being able to get hold of that book. Whether or not I'll have the money to do it at any point in the near future is another matter, but that would be cool. It's including things like, you've got the Vanguard Space Marine from Shadowspear coming into it, Mandrakes striking Scorpions, and what's going to make a few people happy is the Adeptus Custodes are getting a look in. And if you know anything about the Adeptus Custodes, they're effectively all elites. Each one is a custom-made super soldier, made to be the most perfect and awesome version of him. The difference between them and Space Marines is Space Marines are more mass-produced for armies. They're done in the same way, and how effective it is depends on you, and either you survive or you don't, or you turn into dribbling mass, or you get ripped apart and turned into a servitor, and so on and so forth. Whereas the Custodes are personally made individual super soldiers. They're another one of the Emperor's pet projects. He basically used to build each Custodes effectively by hand, and then he got other people who knew how his stuff works to build them by hand. But each Custodes, yes, they come as an army, with each Custodes having specific levels, but in the fluff, each one is a unique personal super soldier that's chemistry has been adapted to his personal DNA to make him the best he can possibly be. And then those guys are put in front of the Emperor, or rather in between the Emperor and anything bad. So that looks cool. You've also got 40k looters and the fractal blades there, which are a Zinchian kill team. You know, a Thousand Suns kill team, which, let me get a better picture of that for you. Which frankly looks amazing. Another one, I don't think adding more to kill team can make it worse. It just gives you more options, and if you want to play in tournaments, I can see tournament play being affected negatively by it, but then again, tournament play gets affected negatively and positively by every release of everything that comes out. There's always going to be somebody taking it to the absolute edge rather than thinking about how enjoyable the game is going to be for them and their opponent. And that's what tournament play is, but really, this is a home game, and GW do repeatedly stress this isn't a game they build for competition. This isn't really a game they build to do anything beyond enjoy yourself. It's meant to be played at home. It's meant to be had fun with. It's meant to be accessible to everybody. So, with that being the case, you really need to just go by rule number one. Don't be a dick. Yeah, if you're worried about stuff being OP, or if your friend's playing stuff and it's OP and you're getting smashed all the time, have a look and say, well, look, I don't want to play this because it's no fun for me to get smashed all the time. And either your friend will say yes, or he's a dick and you should stop playing him. If he's the only person you're playing, if you're stuck in that thing, which some guys, particularly when you're younger, get stuck and you have a limited group of friends and one of them's an arsehole and is always, oh, I want to play, and you're like, no. Either tell him, or go to your friendly local gaming store, find other people to play against, arrange games against people that you like. I'm not saying exclude this guy because he's a dick, but if you can't have fun playing against someone, then you can't have fun playing against them. You just got to work on, you just got to, yeah, you need to work around enjoying the game for yourself and hopefully enjoying the game for other people. There's always one, and a decent gaming shop will usually try and help bring them in line and say, look, mate, you're making this no fun for everybody. You need to consider that no one wants to play you, and there's a reason for that. Often they won't say it in that harsh a way, but you know that I've owned a gaming shop, and there are times I'll take people aside and say, look, you're turning up, you're smashing everybody, and that's not what they want, and they don't, the reason now that no one's playing you and that you're turning up and being ignored is because you're playing so harsh. You're playing so harshly that they can't keep up. In some cases, it's just because the person is such a better gamer, and that's not their fault. In some cases, it's because they're beardy. In some cases, it's because they're playing the game in a much harsher way than people want. And you can say, they say, look, we're more about fun here. You're playing, we get that you want to play these awesome, harsh tournament combos, but we're never going to bring stuff that's going to be able to beat that, so we're not going to want to play it. Or, or you can, or it might be the person that says it's just a better gamer, which when you say, well, we need to work out some way to handicap you, to bring you to our level, because again, it's no fun. And there are usually a lot of fun ways of doing that. 2v1 games are often good, where you've got one guy versus two other guys and they can pool their intelligence and their resources. And there are plenty of ways where a guy can, even most good gamers are actually fairly self-aware. And by I mean good gamers, I don't mean gamers who are fun and happy to play. I mean most very sort of high-end gamers are usually aware enough of the fact that they're high-end to be able to go, okay, how about I strip out this unit, and that unit because they're the best elite units, and I play with more generic troops or more vehicles, or I play with a more fun list that is enjoyable and isn't tournament death. But, you know, these things happen. You know, if you've got concerns, talk about them. Talk to your friends. If someone gets upset and offended, it's something that can happen and is to a certain extent unavoidable, but at the same time, if you're not playing them anyway, if they get upset and go and play somewhere else, is that really their loss or yours? You know, if you get to the point where no one's having fun, what's the point? But usually there's a much more civilized way around it. You know, literally saying, look, you always win, dude. We've got to figure out a way of making this fairer. It's fine. I mean, if you look at Age of Sigmar, for example, that's their base rule stat is work on a way that you're equally balanced, and that's all cool as well. That doesn't count people who are bearded cheats. That's a whole nother discussion, which I'm not going to go into now because I don't think my phone will last that long. My phone will probably get replaced by a new phone by the time I finish ranting about bearded cheats. Anyway, on to another one of my absolute favourite games. I'm playing a hell of a lot of this at the moment, Blood Bowl. Blood Bowl has just announced the release of its halfling team. Look at these fuckers. They're amazing. I'm currently painting up my new human Blood Bowl team, but these guys, this halfling Blood Bowl team is totally my next buy. It's one of the reasons I said if I can get the money for Kill Team soon, because frankly, these are the top of my list. They're daft, they're silly, they lose a lot, but they're so much fun to play and they're so enjoyable to play. Stunty Cups are effectively one of the best ways to play Blood Bowl in a way that's not very competitive. Most people have a stunty team, goblins, halflings, ogres, and yes, somehow ogres is a stunty team. I'm not sure how that works, but I think it's because the majority of them are made up of tiny little guys. Some beautiful artwork to go along with it. It's all about the food and it's all about the fun. Next up, we've got some more cool stuff for Necromunda. Some classic miniatures brought to life, special characters and previous editions of Necromunda. Where are we? What are these guys? Cal Jericho, which is actually an old Black Library series. I don't know if any of you will remember it. I never really got around to reading it myself, but it was very popular back in the day. And that's basically it from Gamma. Obviously, we've got a lot of... Well, I'm waiting for it to load up. Come on. A lot of other stuff. Shadow Spear, which has been up for pre-order for ages, is out to release now. So you've got a lot of awesome models there. You've got your weird flying marines with your massive guns. You've got a lot of your chaos stuff, which looks really, really, really good. And if I can find a picture right here, there's another chaos kind of spider thing that's come out. Not part of Shadow Spear, but come on. Yes, I accept cookies. I accepted cookies the last 4 times. There you go, a little slowdown on my tablet. Just going to pause temporarily, got a little technical issue, I'll be back in a second. Hey guys, I'm back. Sorry about the quick pause there, had to just do a quick look up there, because for some reason it froze up. Yeah, another new weird little chaos spider thing. We've got the Lord Discordant here, which is another fantastic looking model. Got some great sort of head alternatives, some weird bits and pieces there. All rounded up by what looks like some sort of chaos warp smith, which is all part of GW's awesome Vigilus campaign. This was actually spotted in the background of one of the GW pieces of art, which I think is really cool. They're adding loads of bits and pieces in it. Lords Discordant, Chaosmiths are a sinister master of machinery similar to Warsmiths. Their training and fell purpose, similar to Warsmiths in in their training and felt purpose. However, while Warsmiths are generally found behind the mechanical engines throughout repairs, Lords Discordants prefer to lead from the front. So, Chaos Space Marine Mad Scientist, Black Legion Mad Scientist. We've got some kick-ass rules here. We've got the Aura Discord, subtract 1 from hit rolls made by vehicle units within 6 of the enemy. It means you have to get fairly close to some of the vehicles, which is a bit worrying when you're a character, because it means you then can be shot at, but still awesome. And it's a new release available on its way from Chaos. Another random, pretty much my last GW thing. I'll be going on to other bits and pieces after this. It's sold out online, so I'm just trying to see if I can get. God damn you, GW, and your sold out online pictures. We've got the Solar War. There's a limited edition which is already sold out online. If you can get it from your shops, totally do it. It's amazing. I don't usually go too much into, well, I don't usually go at all into Black Lorry books because there's so many of them and they've got such deep and cool stories that always interesting. But Solar War is the first part of the Siege of Terror. So we're looking at not necessarily the end of the Horus Heresy novels, but certainly we're looking at the beginning of the end of the story plot, of the story arc. There'll probably be other Heresy novels dealing with bits that they haven't been dealt with that will still be sprung out for several years to come, I would imagine. But the Siege of Terror, it starts off with Horus betraying, in one side of it, it ends off in the Siege of Terror and the Emperor killing Horus on the other side of it. That's the entirety of the Horus Heresy. There's going to be Heresy Heresy. What the hell am I saying? I'm tired. Entirely of the Horus Heresy. When I was young, I misread it as the Horus Heresy, and every now and then when I'm tired, I just call it the Horus Heresy again. Things you do when you're young. But anyway, the Horus Heresy. This is kind of, as I say, the end bracket of the Horus Heresy. Well, this is part 1 of that. The Solar War is the first part of the Siege of Terror, which, frankly, if you've been reading the Black Library novels of the Horus Heresy, I can't speak, of the Horus Heresy, then this one's worth getting. It's one we've all been looking forward to for a long time. A lot of us who've read the Black Library novels, and a lot of you guys out there who've read them, I can only imagine, have had the same experience in that there's so many of them that it's near impossible to keep up. So you start off with Horus Rising, and then you get onto your 10th, 20th, 30th, depending on your stamina novel, and you're like, okay, I'm not interested in that part of the Heresy. I don't care what happens to Fulgrim because I know roughly the story and it's not a character that inspires me. So you start sort of kind of cherry picking. But I think this one is one that all of us can get behind because it's the end. It's worth knowing a lot of the main characters that have been dominant throughout the Heresy aren't in this. If you read Betrayal of Ultramar, if you read The Burning of Prospero, there were deliberate and intentional acts designed to keep some of the main players away from Terror during this. And I'm not going to go into what they are, but spoiler alert, so just skip the next few seconds. Russ isn't there. Gilliman isn't there for damn good reasons. But yeah, everybody else is there. Well, not everybody else. Most other people are there. And most other people are going to be taking big swings, big fights, you get to watch some really dramatic moments, or read some really dramatic moments. Again, don't want to go into spoilers, but this is the end of the beginning of the Imperium, and to a certain extent the beginning of the end as well. It's when they lose the Emperor and they become the Imperium as we know them, guided by bureaucrats and nutters. It's when they take that turn for the darker and they stop being this sort of hopeful thing that mankind will become an ascendant good guy race in the galaxy, and mankind drops into this dark, horrible place because it loses its guiding light, and so on and so forth. And it hopefully should answer a lot of questions about, is the Emperor really a good guy or a bad guy? Because one of the things about the Emperor is he did a lot of bad things, but when you look at the alternatives of what the Chaos Gods fundamentally are, they are basically massive creatures that eat human souls. You can understand why. And also, I do wonder if it'll cover some of the aftermath, for example, turning the Emperor into a sort of a dead corpse-like creature that gets fed human souls. When you look at some of the basis of what he was, it's almost exactly what he didn't want to be. Okie dokie. That's it for GW. Moving on to Infinity. We've got some really exciting stuff coming out. We've got Daedalus Fall, which is a campaign book for Infinity. And also a book that really moves on some of the story for Infinity. For those of you familiar with Infinity, for those of you unfamiliar with Infinity, Infinity Story is much more progressive on a regular basis than 40k. 40k held itself in place for decades because it put itself in a place where it could. And it's only recently moved on. It's suspected that one of the reasons for this is it's coming up against games like Infinity that have a mega plot, but have a mega plot they're willing to move on at reasonable levels. It stays the same for a year or so, and then they add the next bit to it, then they add the next bit to it. And it comes on. Daedalus Falls happens right after what's called the third offensive, which is when when one of the big bad guys, known as the Evolved Intelligence, throws a lot of its troops against humanity. Daedalus Fall deals with some of the past bits they hadn't covered in detail, such as the Tohar and how they basically tried to get this big bad guy to fight humanity because they were desperate. For those who aren't familiar with the story, the Tohar basically... sorry, I'll start again. There's a race called the Combined who are bit similar to the Covenant in Halo in that they work together based on religious ideologies, and their ideologies, they want to ascend to be... So I'm just going to shift my chair. They want to ascend to be beyond mortal beings, and they built themselves this massive artificial intelligence that would be smart enough to know how to do this. And then the artificial intelligence they built did and left. So they built themselves another one, which was less intelligent, so that it could figure it out, and they could watch it figure it out. And they called it the Evolved Intelligence. And when the Evolved Intelligence figures out how to ascend, they'll be able to watch it ascend and ascend themselves. But because it's not smart enough, it's basically said, look, I need all the information in the world from all the creatures in the world. Bit similar to the Brainiac story, and it started this universal conquest. In return, it promises to evolve all creatures in creation that it conquers. So a bit of a sort of a good guy, bad guy thing, but it's conquered people, it's conquered races, and a lot of them don't want to be conquered. A lot of them, it's brought into its combined force, which is why they're called the Combined. Some of them it's wiped out, and one of the races that it's fighting is called the Tohar. Now the Tohar are very clever and very, very tricksy. So what they did is they saw humanity as a young, powerful, strong race with a lot of weaponry, who spent a lot of time fighting each other, and therefore were used to fighting, and threw humanity under the bus. And they went, look, there's another intelligent race, in an attempt to split the Combined's efforts. So whilst they're kind of on the same side as humanity in this background, and that both of them want to defeat or drive off the Combined Intelligence, they're also kind of enemies, and that it's their fault. Now this, Daedalus Fall goes back and covers some of this, but it also covers bits, some new bits and pieces. I don't want to spoil too much, but it progresses the storyline. It reveals what the Tohar did, and it moves on. It isolates the Tohar army, and you get we're getting basically a new Tohar sectorial out of this, which is a new specific type of army that operates in a specific way. One of the cool things worth noting, and this is a standard with any of the new releases from Corvus Belli. If you order it on the pre-order, if you order it, it comes with an exclusive new model. So this is a book with loads of cool stuff in, loads of new troop types in that you can use, and loads of new stuff in for troops that are coming out in the future. But you specifically get a new model with it if you order it. In addition to that, where are we? It's also noting There's another new model coming out. It's for a previously existing model, but this is the previous model. This is the new model, and it's a limited edition guy for the JSA. It's worth noting the previous model can be used in any army except the JSA. This new model, which is only available if you pre-order it, is a JSA army. He's really cool. He's another kind of ninja assassin style guy. Well, I say ninja assassin style guy. He's a ninja assassin. They've even thrown his profile up there for those of you interested. So he's another badass with TO armor. Again, if you're following on from the 40k bit, you're not familiar with Infinity. TO armor is tactical optical camouflage. Predator. It's Predator armor. Not even TO armor. TO camo. It's Predator camo. It's basically you can't see them at all unless they move. At which point you might be able to see a tiny bit of them. As long as they stay still, they're invisible. And that's really, really cool. If you're unsure how they do this, how they do this on the tabletop, the way they do it on the tabletop is you turn around, your opponent either takes a photo or measures, how many inches from the side and then how many inches from the back edge. The modeler makes a note of it and puts it on a face-down piece of paper, and then it takes the model off the board, and then you get to turn to face the board again. So you never see where the model actually is, and you don't know until that model does something. It could be anywhere on the board within specific rule limits, and with some models, not even then. And you have no idea where it is, and you've got to fight the entire battle knowing that this utter devastating killing machine is somewhere on the board. With the ninjas, it's kind of balanced out by the fact that they fight mostly in hand to hand, so you've got to get close enough for it to stab you. And the moment it does something like shoot somebody, stab somebody, it reveals itself, and it can go back into a camouflaged mode, but that just means it's represented by a token rather than a model. But you know where it is. It never goes back to the point where you don't know where it is. But until it does something, it is this weird invisible threat that you know nothing about, which is amazing. But yeah, a lot of people sort of looked at the original model of of Saito Togan and went, this is a mental looking model. There you can see he's doing a high kick in what can only be described as a crazy pose. Possibly realistic. I've seen some people doing kicks who've had photos taken of them during martial arts seminars, and they end up in some weird looking poses that you never really think of when you think of kicks. And here we've got him in a much sort of cooler, a much nicer pose. And more importantly, much more stable pose, because that guy, whilst he's cool, is a mother fudger to stop falling over. You've got him in his base, you move him, somebody knocks the table that much, over the little guy goes. And it's worth mentioning that all Corvus Belli's miniatures are metal. Well, all the Infinity miniatures, are metal. They've released some plastic for some of their other games. Meaning that you really don't want them to fall over. But yeah, it gives you a little backstory on Saito, how there was the head of this massively awesome clan and he failed and he never turned up. And that might have been a setup by the second in command to F him over. And then he got killed allegedly. And then Saito randomly appeared and started killing people and killing people who may or may not have been involved in this betrayal. So, and if you haven't played Infinity, it's all like that. It's all awesome little weird stories. Something related to the Daedalus Fall is the Spiral Corps. The Spiral Corps is a new sectorial army. We can see there a picture of the... Can I big that one up for us? No, I can't. Put that in front of the broadcast. Yeah, it's a new cool army for sectorials. But there is, where are we? Yeah. The next picture. Come on, load up. Yeah, there's a specific new leader coming out with it. Okay. And a bunch of new guys working on with it. Just going to pause while I load something up. Yep. And the Spiral Core is made of a bunch of awesome models as well. You've got the acrylic agents, which we can see which we can see there. You've got covert assault teams. Your big heavy, the Drow saboteurs, who I assume are spending a lot of time throwing shoes at things. The Reeks escorts, and frankly, one of the coolest model, you've got the Kutan imposters, who are jump troops with little barrels on their backs. Their main function is to be a constant annoyance to the enemy, even though they basically turn up and go, "Look at me, I'm one of your guys," and the enemy goes, "No, you're not." And they go, "Yeah, but you looked at me." You looked at me, and that's the problem. Look out behind you, there's a Calypsos. So you've got a lot of new cool guys coming out with the Daedalus Fall, so that's going to be really quite fun and really quite cool. You've got a lot of awesome stuff. You've also got, where are we? A lot of weird things like the Dashat company that are coming out soon, which have got some awesome guys in, some mercenary guys. And some various stuff there. Plus, it's bringing out a lot of stuff that's going to allow you to use some of your newer models like you're using in new ways, which is really worth going. They're really pushing about what models are going to be included in and what models are going to work as a reaction to that. For example, they're recommending the Hack Islam starter pack. If you don't want to go Daedalus Fall, there's a great bunch of cool stuff you can use there. Also worth noting that Corvus Belli, being frankly the great guys they are, they've done a breakdown of the Spiral Core and what they are. It's all available online. You can go and check it out. You can look it up, and it gives you a lot of basic information. They've got the Diaphos pack, which is a story pack you can include in that, and a lot of cool stuff. Okay, got a few other bits and pieces to look at this week still. One of my favourite guys, Cromlech, they brought out some legionary heads. I know I keep showing heads in these videos, but frankly I think one of the easiest ways to customize your Space Marines is with heads. It's also one of the cheapest ways to do it. Again, you're looking €7.99, which at this point is still about £8, for 10 heads that you can then add to your own guys and make look really cool. Where are we? I want Puppets of War. And as always, going to finish off with some more bits and pieces from one of my other favourite guys, Puppets of War, just because they're bringing out so much stuff at the moment. They brought out some optional turrets, what they call a nuclear turret, which you get that, but you can add different weapons, cores and things to them, and you can use them to upgrade stuff. See, I don't know if I mentioned some of this stuff before, so I'm going to have to leave it on the probability that I did. But actually, no, I can show you Hooded Crusaders again. If you're a Dark Angel fan, don't forget those ones. If I mentioned before, I'm sorry. But yeah, these guys are coming out with a lot of stuff. And not particularly special from them. You can get them from eBay, but 100 magnets for €7 isn't terrible. If you'd rather go with a bit more well-known, more reliable site. A lot of their stuff is designed to fit in with magnets and does have holes, so that's pretty cool. But yeah, that's it for this kind of week 2 week period. It's a little bit crammed in there. I haven't spent necessarily as much time talking about some of the individual things as I would have liked to, so if I skipped anything, I'm really sorry. Hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope it showed you something maybe you hadn't known about or hadn't seen. Hi guys, hope you enjoyed that video, and if you did, remember to like and subscribe to my channel. I'm also on Facebook and Twitter. Not sure why, but I am. So if you like it, see me there, and please tell your friends. Thanks very much. Bye.